Welcome back, everybody, and welcome to the CSUN Performance Ensemble presents A Conversation With. My name is not Jefferson Denim, as you can tell. I'm Fernando Martinez, and you might have noticed that to my whatever direction that is a new person. New person, who are you?
Hello, everyone. Oh,
Can we start this over?
yes.
Right off the bat.
Yes, I thought.
That we're so
Okay, we're going. All right, from the beginning. All right, who were you talking about?
Yeah.
All right. I am Samantha Garcia, and I was interviewed last time, and here I am sneaking on the podcast. And go on.
Yeah, and today we have a very special guest who was a little bit too excited to introduce themselves. But welcome to Brianne Ingram, our special guest, Sam. It's very exciting stuff. Before we get started, Bri, just because we think it's very important to respect people and how they identify. What are your pronouns that you prefer?
She, her.
Okay, cool. Okay, so I guess we're just moving along to Act 1. Sam?
Okay, so as we know, this podcast is split up into 3 parts, and we're going to start with Act 1. And Bree, let's start with the beginning of your life. When and where were you born?
Okay, well, I was born in Long Beach, California, and raised in Los Angeles until I was about 8 or 9, and then moved to Carson. And I've been, living in Carson ever since I was, 9 years old, Carson resident,
Nice. So you did most of your growing up in Carson.
Yes. I went to elementary. I graduated from elementary school. Also went to middle school, down the street from my house, and also went to Carson High. So Carson all the way through, yeah.
Wow. So since you were in Carson and Long Beach, kind of moving around, what was it like in Carson growing up? What was your hometown like?
Carson is really chill. It's real chill, not too much going on, not too much hustle and bustle like I was when in LA. Now that things are coming up, they're trying to fix it up a little bit more. But Carson's a real chill place, a lot of birds chirping. I just wish we had more food places, but other than that, it's real laid back.
That explains a lot about your personality too, just like a laid back person. So your hometown really has a lot to do with, how you turned out.
Yeah.
Did you have any siblings? Or do you have any siblings?
I have 2 brothers and 2 sisters. I have an older brother, and there's me, of course. And then my younger brother, who's 2 years younger than me. Then I have an 18-year-old sister and a 14-year-old sister. So yeah, 2 brothers, 2 sisters. But of course I'm the best one. But that's
what's funny? I for some reason felt like you only had 1 sibling. I didn't realize.
Really?
That. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that you had a whole Brady Bunch going on.
Yeah. How did you only had 1 sibling? Is it just the way I come off? How did that come about?
I feel like you only ever bring up your younger sister.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought it was the brother.
I've never heard of a brother.
I've
really?
only
Hey, my sibling's dirty then. I gotta work on that. I have to work on that.
So what was your relationship like as siblings growing up?
Well, for one, my younger brother, actually, I don't really let him know a lot about this, but he actually, if it wasn't for him, I probably wouldn't be the person that I am today, honestly. Because, he came along, I was doing all right as, in the house, with being only girl or whatever. But, he came along, became another sibling. And if it wasn't for him, I probably wouldn't have some of the friends I had, because he introduced me to basketball, and that kind of shaped who I am today as far as being, athletic and just being this very competitive person, and also being someone who just loves to be a part of a team as well. So he really changed the trajectory of my life, believe it or not. So if it wasn't for him, I don't know really who I'd be right now for a lot of reasons.
That's an amazing dynamic to have with a sibling. You said that was your younger or your older?
Younger brother, actually, yeah.
Oh, how much younger than you is he?
Just 2 years.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you went to maybe the same high school.
We went to all the same schools, yeah.
Okay, and were you on sports teams like at the same time and all of that?
Yeah, we was.
That must have been really motivating.
Oh yeah, we definitely were together. Same school, same teams, all that. And of course, like I said, I was better than him. It basically
I believe
it. Yeah, he introduced it to me, but of course I became better than him.
Yeah, but most people don't know that Bree can dunk, you know. She's very tall. She can dunk.
I'm very tall. My actual height, I got this from Cat Williams, I am 6 foot, 8'12". You do not forget that. That is my exact height, okay, in inches. So, and in feet as well.
Bomb. Yeah, me too.
Oh yeah, no, like we eye level.
We're like the same height. Yeah. I can dunk too.
Follow-up question though, like Sam was saying, it is interesting that the dynamic worked out the way that it was, but how was it, I guess, with your other siblings? Was it there too or no?
You said, say what one more time?
Was that dynamic also there with your other siblings or no?
Kind of. Well, they came a little later. So at that time, I was already, like 9, 10 already. But, and of course, it was kind of different. It was more of, instead of me, I mean, I still learned from them, but I was more of, the protector with them and teaching them things more so. Because now I've already matured a little bit more, and now they're coming up. They're on the come up. So it kind of changed dimensions in that respect. Yeah.
Amazing. So you all kind of like, you and your siblings, I know we're talking about your siblings a lot, but you have a lot of them.
Yeah.
So you all kind of like went through the same schools in the same area and whatnot.
Well, my younger siblings, they went to school like in LA.
Oh, yeah, right.
They went to like in LA and everything. But Tony and I, we went to like Carson schools. And my older brother, he's old. So
he's got like a house and things.
But something that we all three, like me, my older brother, and my younger brother, we all had in common was we all also did karate. So I did taekwondo. You probably guys didn't even know that about me, but yeah, I did taekwondo.
You see my face?
Yeah, we all did karate. I only got to be like a blue belt, which I'm sad. I would love to get back into that. Yeah. But yeah, we all had in common as well. Two younger siblings, they didn't really do that. But yeah.
Where in LA did they go?
Huh?
Where in LA did they go to school?
I went to Kayla went to Hawkins. She also went to Narbonne. I forgot. She just graduated from Narbonne. So that's also kind of Carson area, but it's like really like Harper City. It's actually not far from Carson. My youngest sister, she went to school in Brentwood, and now she goes to Tally. So yeah, she's doing all kind of things.
So other than basketball and karate, do you have any other secret hidden talents you had as a kid, like growing up?
I mean, of course, as far as like my secret goes, I made it, my passion, which is, writing and performing and everything, which is how I find myself with you guys. And I remember when I first met Fernando, I think we'll get to that soon. But as far as just like my passions and everything is definitely writing and performing all the way through.
All the way through. And since you were little, like you knew you had that passion, yes?
Yeah, well, not so much as performing, but writing, I knew like a love-hate relationship with writing, for sure. Whenever it came down to writing essays, I used to like not really enjoy the writing process, but I enjoyed the end result with writing. Like I love seeing my writing and saying, wow, okay, I did that. I put the work in for that. Putting in the work, not so much. I hated that. But like I said, seeing what my work resulted in, couldn't beat it.
Absolutely. What an amazing feeling to see what you've accomplished straight from your brain to paper.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I was gonna ask, what was so sort of just like going through things in elementary, like what was that like going through elementary school where you, I don't know, you just like,
I was a nerd, though.
yeah,
I've always been a nerd. Like,
I believe it.
and I've always been a perfectionist. But see, as I got older, I had to be like, okay, you need to chill because you cannot be perfect at everything. Even my mom would tell me, like, she constantly tells me about this story. I had a spelling test, and it was 20 words, and I got one wrong. I got 19 out of 20. And she was just like, I went home, and I was just like, oh my God, I can't believe I got one wrong. Like, I knew how to spell this word. I can't believe it. She's like, it's okay. Like, it's really okay. You only got one wrong. You got the rest right. Okay. So, but as a kid, I was just really hard on myself more than anything else. I've always been my worst critic. But even as a kid, like, that's just who I've always been. Now as an adult, I've let up a little bit because I realized like that's doing way too much. But that's just how like I've always been my worst critic.
Absolutely. And where do you think that comes from? Do you think that comes from maybe like since you grew up doing some competitive sports, maybe like kind of absorbing like that mentality, like, you know, you got to be precise and you got to be on it, kind of, maybe it kind of comes from that?
Yeah, I definitely didn't get it from my parents. That's for sure. Get it from them.
I thought so.
Yeah, definitely did not. That's something that I think it's really, like you said, it's a part of my personality, but also just what I've been through, like, as a kid, just who I was as a kid as well. I think it's a combination of both of those. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Well, it seems like a beautiful segue, you know, talking about your passions and things that you did for fun and competitively as a kid, maybe can lead us into your little bit later life as a young adult in high school and college. And we can enter Act 2 with Fernando.
Yeah, I actually, well, one thing, I think it was interesting that you, like, I mean, like, you're just so proud about the fact that you were sort of geeky growing up, which is funny because I feel like everybody that we've had on here, like, just hated school. Like, nobody wanted to be there, you know, like, myself included. Like, I just hated it. So it's interesting seeing how, like, you were into it at such a young age. But I guess, you know, growing up and like, we're all going through a lot of things as we grow older, especially when we're teenagers, when we're going into high school and all that stuff. Did any of that sort of passion that you had for being in school die off, or did it stay the same?
I think after grad school, I kind of got enough of school. That was my cap, to be honest, like, because even going to grad school, I was like, oh, like, I like school. So this isn't going to be like that bad because I've enjoyed school. It's something that I'm good at, something that I've always been good at. I've always gotten good grades, always been, you know, on honor roll, everything, all that. So it wasn't like a big thing to me. But I think, yeah, grad school probably say, you know what, this is, I think we're good. I think we're good. I think we're done here as far as that goes with education, as far as academics.
And so then, okay, so then, but like in high school though, were you were still into it? Like you still were you like, did you try hard? I guess is my question.
Yeah.
Because we all know Sam and I didn't.
Yeah, no, I did. Yeah, in fact, I was actually, well, in my middle school, before I get to high school, I was actually valedictorian in my middle school class.
Ooh.
Yeah. So then when I got to high school, I tried to, you know, just keep that up. But yeah, I've always had good grades. Even in high school. It was cool. It was cool. I was in a nice little academy where it was like a lot of us students who enjoyed going to class and who enjoyed doing in work. I was in AP classes. I was in all that.
And Okay, and so you were like still in it academically, and it was like a pretty comfortable thing for you. And what about extracurriculars or I guess sort of your passions? What were your passions then? Because I don't know, I kind of it seems like for a lot of people it's just switches, right? Like you have one thing that you sort of been doing your whole life, and then suddenly, and we'll get to it later, but like you get into college or you get like you get into grad school and it, like kind of switches. Like there's something else that's added to it, right? So what were your passions, just like growing up in high school?
Basketball.
Still, well, I mean, like you were still
Yeah.
dunking 50 points a game. I know. Was there any?
No, like as far as other passions, that was it. I didn't really discover for performing until college.
Man, that's an interesting story too.
I as far as like I did some poetry like for past projects, but that was basically it. In fact, looking back, probably would have done more school plays and everything, but at the time, I just hadn't discovered that yet. I knew I enjoyed being in front of an audience. I knew I enjoyed being around people. I know I enjoyed being a part of a team and everything. But as far as my love for performance, that was not yet discovered.
That's man. I feel like there's a lot there, huh? To like I don't know if you agree with me, Sam or Bree, but like being able to, I guess, just like realizing that you love being in front of people or performing for people, and obviously like that sort of, I mean, it's still there. Like obviously you still love basketball, but like it sort of changed into like performing on stage, and you still had this like thing for wanting to perform in front of people, and I think that's super. It's interesting how that works out. But I want to do our our fallen soldier Jefferson some justice and ask one of his favorite questions. When you were in high school, did you ever experience love?
No, not love.
Not
Definitely not love. No.
human construct.
Smart girl. Smart.
It was love. It was, oh, I think you cute. But love, nah. Mm-mm. Yeah.
You didn't have time for that?
I just didn't find it. That's all. Like, it was just not there.
She was too busy dunking.
It was not there for me in high school at all.
Yeah, I mean, was there, I guess it's sort of going in the same vein of like relationships, I guess sort of talking about friendships. Is there like any particular friendships that you felt that sort of mold that sort of molded your identity?
Honestly, I think just all of my close friends, definitely, because of course in high school you have your group or clique that you always are around, and I would say about like 4 solid friends who, some of them, like a few of them, it's only 4, but like a few of them I'm still actually very close with to this day, and we still have that same circle, and I would say those really help mold me into who I am today, because it's taught me a lot. It's taught me, of course, about, like you said, relationships and the adversity that comes with that, and communication, because a lot of times friendships have ended. I've had friendships who have ended because of either lack of communication or miscommunication. And when that happens and you don't reach out to each other and try to mend that, then it's gone like that. Without communication, you have nothing. So that's really something what has taught me with my close friendships. And of course, likewise, something that I've also, studied academically. But as far as relationships, that's something that, I've tried to work at with my friendships and my relationships and throughout my life.
That felt a little deep.
That's deep. Whose quote is that?
Yeah. I'm gonna ask you if because I guess it's sort of like knowing the things that you know now. If you were able to go back to your past, right, and talk to past Brie, what's something that you would tell?
Oh, so much. Goodness gracious. Because when it comes to that, going back to to young Bree to Lil Bree, because I'm big Bree now. When we go back to Lil Bree, there's so many things I would tell her. Like, look, for one, oh, that's a really good question. I really have to think about
it. It is.
Whew. There's just so much that I would have to say to her. And one of those things I would say, to just really just continue to be you, because if people don't want to, work at whatever it is that you have to offer, then just be confident in just who you are, really. Because a lot of times, like, even as a kid, like, I like making people happy, so I would sometimes be too much of a people pleaser. Mm-hmm. And so because I would do too much, then I would just tell myself, hey, you don't need to do all of that. You have to make yourself happy first. Like, it's okay to be there for others, but you need to make sure that you're there for yourself first and foremost. So that's one of the things that I would definitely tell myself.
And how do you think that would have changed who you were then if you had known those things? And I realize it's kind of hard to answer, right? Because it's like very, like, such a big what if question, but yeah, like. No, sorry, go ahead.
I think that would have just saved me a lot of heartache, really, because I had to realize that just because you are a certain way, that's not guaranteed that other people are going to treat you how they would treat you. So just because you would react a certain way, then someone else isn't going to react how you would react. Isn't going to treat a certain situation or this issue how you would treat it. So it would save me a lot of heartache and also disappointment. It would have saved me a lot of disappointment, and in that respect, and setting certain expectations for people, because a lot of times those expectations I would set up here, and I would just be let down over and over again. So that's something that I would definitely probably would have been able to avoid in those pitfalls.
Man, how do you feel after listening to that, Sam?
Oh, it's just that's deep. But no, honestly, well, you're the best, Bree, as you said earlier. And I think that's true. You would have it would have saved you heartache, but you wouldn't be as strong as you are today if you didn't go through those things, for sure.
Yeah, I think anybody's that's like met you knows how, like, I don't know. I feel like maybe some people like meet you and think that you're a certain way because you come off as very like, how do I say it? Just like you know what you're doing, like you just know what you're doing, or at least it appears that way. And so I feel like a lot of people find it intimidating.
Confident.
Yeah, you're just like so naturally confident, and I think people who lack that find it intimidating. Like because like even just like meeting you, I was like, man, I don't how which is funny because of the way that we ended up meeting, but like it was just, I don't know, it's interesting. But I mean, I can see where those qualities come from too, if that's just something that you've experienced throughout your formative years, I guess. And I feel this is the thing. I feel like because these parts we tend to do it a little bit longer, but I'm really excited to get to Act 3 because we're going to spend a lot of time talking about PE, I think.
Yeah.
And I think it'd be a perfect way to segue into it because, you sort of grew up loving school as a child, and then you go into high school and you're still doing the same thing. You found your passion, but you recognize that you love being in front of people. And so I think that's a perfect way to sort of move on into what sort of happened in college, right? So like right before PE. And I think we're gonna send this over to Sam so she can take care of this.
Okay, so Act 3, Brianne Ingram. Let's talk about, before we get into your time in PE, let's ask you what led you to PE. Like, let's talk about maybe a little bit about undergrad and what kind of like led you to become aware of performance ensemble, and what led you there.
So before CSUN, I actually went to Santa Monica College. And when I was there, I actually took an acting class. that I fell in love with. Okay. So I took one semester with that, loved that. And then when I got to CSUN, I realized that there were a bunch of performance classes, and that intrigued me. And the one that I took, I believe it was my junior year while I was there, because I transferred there. So it was like probably, I don't know if it was my first semester, if it was my second semester there, but I'm pretty sure it was my first year there. And I see Fernando there. I think this is where I met him. Yes. And Sarah Hemmert was our professor, and we had this exercise, and it's one of my favorite exercises that you guys know about. It's the eye contact exercise.
Oh, yeah.
And we'll get to, how I use that in it. But I think that was like the beginning and everything. And just connecting with someone else, and also that performance class, I think, really helped me. Like honing my skills and just realize, okay, I kind of like what's going on here. I kind of like what I'm seeing. I kind of like what I'm kind of like what I'm doing. I kind of like this. I feel at home. I enjoy it. And so her class really helped solidify, okay, you know what? I think I like what we're doing here. It was her class that just sparked everything.
Wow. And then so you saw performance ensemble for the next semester on the schedule?
So what happened was she told me about it. She told me about PE.
Okay.
And so it was in that same year that they had the performance showcase. That was the first time that they were putting on the performance showcase, and it was in the Ensemble library. That was my first real performance in front of an audience that wasn't in the classroom. And I performed 3 times there. I opened, and then I did a piece that I did in Sarah's class. Then I did a piece that I did in McRaven's class. So that was something I was like, wow. I just enjoyed it. And it was only in the Aaron stamp as well, but that sparked everything. And then she told me about, PE, and she had a couple of grad students come to one of our courses, and I got to talk to them. It was actually, I think it was Max. I think I spoke to Max the first time there.
I think Swoop was there too, if you remember him.
Yeah, it was Swoop and Max. I remember them. And it was someone else. She told me about PE, and she also told me about the festivals, the performance festivals. And that excited me. I'm just thinking wow, they have performance festivals that you travel to, that you can go to. And ever since then, well, we'll probably talk about the festivals in a second, but I'll save that. But yeah, her class, the performance showcase, from then it was a wrap.
Perfect. You found it all on your own. And Fernando has a comment.
I have
a question.
It's not even a question. I think it's a comment, because I just sort of wanted to contextualize the whole performance class that we took together. Sarah Hemmert was a member, or she was a member of the ensemble the semester before. She was my TA. Yeah. And then she was our professor. But what was really cool too is, I don't even know if you remember this, but Ivan was also in that class.
He was?
Yeah, that's where we met him too. Yeah.
Wow.
Because I think I wanted to tell you about P, but Sarah beat me to it, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna tell Ivan. Sorry, my cat's in the shot.
Hi, Pluto.
But I think I guess I do have a question. I was gonna ask if you remember what the performances were in that showcase. Because I was supposed to go and I never did. Yeah, just out of laziness, I think. So I don't really remember.
The performances that I saw?
Yeah, did you perform at the showcase, or did you just look at performances?
No, I performed 3 times at that showcase. The first showcase.
Do you remember what performances you did?
Oh yeah, I did the first one that I did. I performed it in Pavi's class. It was a silent performance. It was for 1 minute, and it was a solo performance. I dressed in all black, and it was to protest police brutality. And I remember I had, the flag, and it was just a whole. It was a performance that it was very introspective. At the same time, I had props with it as well. I had like the flag. I had a gavel. I had a robe. That it really just told a story within one. It was like actually 1.5 minutes. And I had Usher's song Chains in the background. And it had visuals of Black men and also Hispanic men who have fallen police brutality in the background. And so the visuals were just there, and all I had to do was just perform the actual piece. And so I opened the show with that. And then the second one that I did, it was actually in Sarah's class, where I wish I had the other people there. We could actually perform it again. But I think it was like the people against, we were suing America. And we were inspired. Do you remember that?
It's sort of, yeah.
Yeah, so it was the people against America, the people versus America. And I was the prosecutor, and there was another student who was playing America and defending America. And so we put America on trial, basically. And we performed that, which was very fun to do. And another one we did, it was McRaven's class, in which we kind of rewrote the national anthem to really fit what we thought the national anthem, even though what it says that it does, we rewrote it in what it really represents. And that was the piece that was the third piece that I was in. And so it's kind of like a thread. As you can see, it's kind of like a thread in between all three of them. But yeah, 3 separate classes. I was fortunate enough to perform those at that showcase.
Wow.
That's non-jokingly, that's deep. Really heavy stuff,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so my question's over.
Oh, I'm just like, this is great. Well, so since we have covered that, you discovering performance ensemble, you performing a little bit in undergrad, let's move on to the time where we were all together in performance ensemble. And you, more specifically, we wanted to ask you more about Caged Bird in particular, which is our first show that we had all together, in which you played a major role, assistant directing with me and Fernando. So first off, I just want to ask you about your experience assistant directing that show, and that's very special show, and also the experience directing your own piece in that show, which was such a special piece in the show. I think a lot of us agree it was the only comic relief we had, yet so deep. So yeah, please do tell.
Well, of course, it's always a pleasure working with you guys. I mean, you guys
likewise.
You guys seem to get me on, so many levels. So it's always a pleasure working with you guys. And helping others, that's something that, I really do try to do, and I try to get better at, especially with directing, because it's easier for me to help myself, but I have to, dig in another bag when trying to help someone else and, try to help their piece and what I see that, could work and what couldn't work. So I enjoyed it. I enjoyed working with you guys because you guys are so easy to talk to, for one. And guys take, ideas and take the ideas into account. You don't just, shoot it down and say, yeah, nah, next. You try to
Not our style.
try to, see if it can work. If not, then hey, then it doesn't work. But you at least try to, take, certain direction and just go for it. Yeah. And as far go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say no, actually you continue first. I'm gonna hold it.
Yeah, okay. Did you ask about, and how that compares with directing my own?
Oh yeah, just like your experience, maybe especially in the time of grad school, a stressful time, maybe like what was your experience handling both the, prospects of the entire show along with your own piece? And, what did your piece kind of mean to you for, people that haven't seen it?
Ooh, my piece meant it was kind of a bridge between my interests.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, sports, writing, performing, and also I enjoy having a good time. So that like comic relief that you brought up, I wanted to just incorporate, kind of just marry all those together into a piece that I've never done before. And it was a great time. It was a great time. And just juggling that with the whole ensemble, I would say it wasn't too bad because, like I said, I feel like we all work well together. So it wasn't too overwhelming. It wasn't any of that. Because at the end of the day, I just feel like we all have each other's backs. And whenever I fall, y'all were there to, pick me back up and just say, hey, we got you. And I feel like that's a collaborative effort that we all have for each other.
Do you agree that having a super small group for performance ensemble during the time of Caged Bird, would you say that that was maybe something that you kind of like were able to take advantage of, since it wasn't too many people, you're able to more easily direct these people that you're so comfortable with?
Oh, definitely. Having a big group, I imagine it's cool because the next semester we got more people.
Yeah.
But as far as like that special time that we had with each other, it was special, and I really enjoyed. We had what was it? It was what 9, 11
That's
people.
what I was saying last time, like 7 or 9. Like, was it 10? Under 10.
It was, like 9 people or something like that. So that's something that I'm glad we definitely took advantage of because it worked out in our favor. And some people say, well, you only had 9 people. Like how were you able to pull it off? I don't know how, but we did. And it was great.
It was a time.
What a time. What a time.
And so to give people some context, we actually took this show to a performance festival called Patty Pace Performance Festival in New Orleans. And we took the show over there, but we had to make some changes, right? We had to, some people graduated and weren't in the, because we performed this in New Orleans a semester after we performed it at CSUN. So we lost a few members, gained a few members, but we still wanted to perform this show. So Bree, would you tell the people what that experience was like, trying to rework the show in order to perform at a performance festival?
Well, for one, I want to say thank you all for this show because it fulfilled a goal of mine. And ever since I went to Pedagine, because I went to Pedagine the year before, I believe, and when I got there, I said I would love to perform at a festival. After seeing what they do, I said I would love to do that, and so I just said, man, I hope we can create something to where we can actually go and perform at a festival, and we made that happen. So I just want to say thank y'all for that. Now, as far as getting everything together for the show, it took a little bit more, I think, just a little bit more effort to just figure out, okay, what exactly are we going to include? What are we not going to include? Because like you said, we lost certain people couldn't be in it, certain people couldn't go. And so my piece, we left out, my last act. And so, which was fine because I didn't have to rework anything. It was easy, in that respect. But we had to figure out another order. We had to figure out, okay, what's going to go here? Okay, what parts we're going to take out. It was a process. It was definitely a process. And of course, it was cut in half. Like we only had like a 30-minute slot, 25-minute slot.
Yeah.
And so it took some reworking, but it was reworking that was it wasn't too grueling. It wasn't.
It really was.
Do you
No.
remember rehearsing it? Just like a fun fact. Do you remember rehearsing it? Like it wasn't grueling, but it is weird how we're like in a completely different state.
Right.
We were in a swamp essentially. It was so awful over there, weather-wise, and we didn't have like a rehearsal space. I don't know if you guys remember that. We had to do it in a restaurant or something.
Yes, we went to it was a vegan spot.
Yeah,
it was.
Yes, we found a vegan spot in New Orleans, and we said, "Please, can we just use your back room, please? We just do us this one solid." And they said, "Sure, of course." I think it's a part of that Southern hospitality that
they're so friendly.
Yeah, that Southern hospitality that really just helped us. And so that's where exactly, I definitely forgot about that, Fernando. Definitely.
Yeah, I brought it up because and maybe this is a question for both of you, but I guess in that moment, because I remember we were all eating, it was lunch or I think we went out for lunch, right? And
it was lunchtime, yeah.
Yeah, and like we didn't have a performance space. It was getting closer to show time. We have to fit a show that was nearly an hour on stage in Northridge, where it's really comfortable for us to perform, and then take it to New Orleans, cut it in half. We lost half the members because I think it was only 5 of us who performed that reimagined version. At any point during that lunch, were you guys afraid that maybe we couldn't get it done?
No, I didn't.
I had a little anxiety, just a little bit at the time, but I knew with Jade on our backs, we were gonna get it done.
Mm-hmm.
Really? I was.
You're freaking out.
I was so sweaty, and it wasn't because it was hot over there. It's because I was nervous. I was like, I don't know how we're gonna do this.
Mm-hmm.
But Sam actually brought something interesting though, like having Jade sort of, because Jade's a character, and yeah, just shout out to Jade. But like the way that she directs is interesting because it's like she gives you a lot of direction, and at the same time she doesn't really give you direction. It's like, like she tells you what to do without saying much. And I think she sort of did the same thing. But like, how was it, I guess, navigating her style of direction? Because like you, just like me, like you had 3 different directors that you performed for, Brie. What was it like working with Jade's sort of directing style, but it's obviously like in New Orleans? Like, how was that?
Well, in New Orleans, she was to herself. As far as the direction goes, because like you said, she tells you without really telling you. So she allowed me to just be me at the same time, just give me like subtle tidbits. Okay, this is how you should be, and just go here. Just give me a little bit more of this, a little here. And so for me, I didn't really see too much of a difference because, like I said, she was just who she was. Even in New Orleans, it wasn't too much of a difference. But it pretty much was the same for me. I don't really know about too many others, but I just enjoy how she got me to where I feel like I needed to go because she wasn't too demanding on me, and she just allowed me to just be free and to just find what I needed to find to get the performance to where it should be and where it needed to be.
Yeah. What about you, Sam?
What?
like, how was it working with Jade? And like, I realized that we're interviewing Bree, but I'm just
Oh,
curious.
yeah.
Like,
This is a Breeze channel.
I know, but like, we've never had the opportunity to talk about this. I think
Yeah.
we sort of just
Oh,
like,
true.
because I mean, like, we all remember what happened after we performed, but so we never got a chance to talk about working over there. What was it like for you? I guess just working under Jade's direction, under all these like sort of weird circumstances that we were thrown into.
I feel like with Jade, I feel like I've always just had like great chemistry with her and like a comfortable understanding of what she wants. With my, like, the way she directs is kind of similar into with the way that I grew up being directed, like with stage things I did in high school and growing up on the stage and stuff. I just felt like I could really understand her. So when it came to New Orleans, I'm just like, I'm here to help. What do we do? It was really cool seeing us all come together, really, and just like we're down to the hour, like we got to work together as a family to do this right now. So it was a good experience overall. It was wonderful.
It gets me sad. I'll just like pass it back to Sam because I'm
just gonna start crying.
Yeah, on camera.
Our emo boy, Mrs. New Orleans.
Yeah.
Well, Bree, to kind of end the section on performance ensemble, I want to ask you, do you have a favorite memory of all time? Any specific memory or any broad feeling, anything that that will stick with you from your time as a member of performance ensemble?
My favorite memory, I mean, obviously there are a lot, and I have to dig back in my memory bank to just figure out, okay, which one,
or even just one that just really sticks out, because I know how hard that is to pick a favorite.
I mean, honestly, I would definitely have to say that trip, though, to New Orleans. For one, I've always wanted to go. Two, it scratched off something on my bucket list, which is something that I've always wanted to do, is perform at a performance festival. And just really just that experience in doing Caged Bird. I love that show. Like, I love it. I'm saying like a lot. It's
our baby.
Yeah, but that show in New Orleans is something that will definitely go down as one of my favorite memories in PE.
Absolutely. I agree with you. Like, for me, I think about that trip so much, and it's my favorite. How about you, Fernando, since you asked me questions?
Favorite like memories that stick out. I think one that really sticks out that I think encompasses a lot of what I felt specifically in that semester, right? Like with Caged Bird and just like working with a small group and it being the first time we all worked with Jade, was having the rehearsals in the library in the Aronstam, like at 8 or 9 p.m. And it's just like, was it like on a Sunday or something? It's just like really random. And you sort of think about, I don't know, every time I think about it, it's just like, man, performance is chaotic. Like, yeah. It is insane. It's just like, it wrecks you, but not in a bad way, like it's just all chaos that you love. And you keep doing these things, like showing up on a Sunday to school. And I just remember walking up to Manzanita Hall, not being able to open the door and thinking, well, I'm locked out. Like, I can't perform with you guys. And I like Instagrammed it and someone was like, you realize that your keys open it, right? And I was like, oh. So, like that thing like sticks out to me a lot because it's just like, it's funny. Like we just did a lot of weird, funny things in PE. But yeah, it was during the semester that we did Caged Bird, and so that's something that sticks out to me a lot.
Yeah, that was a wonderful semester, and such a wonderful group, and even the Breach group was amazing. I know we focused more on Caged Bird as Bree was also in Breach as well, but I'm just, I'm so glad that we got to find this family that we did. And on the subject of favorites, why don't we move it over to Fernando and conclude our time?
Yeah, yeah. I think I sort of
Almost.
I want to caveat this by saying that I feel like there are so many more stories we have to talk about in the future. And so, because it's funny, I like actually originally intended to interview you two at the same time at some point. And it's just like sort of happening now, like we're just talking to each other. But
Here we are.
yeah, here we are. So we'll get back to that and have you back on, Bree. Especially now that Sam's going to be here from here on out, which is super exciting too. Anyway, so sort of moving on to concluding our episode today, we wanted to ask you what your favorite song, a quote, or a joke that you like. And if you can't come up with any, that's fine. It's not like we're gonna be brokenhearted, you know. It's not like,
I will.
It's not like we're every night after this podcast comes out.
Yeah.
but if you, yeah, just let us know what your favorite song, quote, or joke is.
Okay. Well, I'll probably do two of those. I can do the song and a quote. So, song, as you guys know that I am married to Drake. You guys know that. Now, of course, naturally, I have plenty of songs by him that I love, that I really do. And so anything that he puts out, I love. But I will do a little shameless plug and just say that I'm actually on a song. I am like performing a role on a song that I got the chance to do like during quarantine. So I'm actually like playing a role, on a song. And I'm just like, one of my friends told me, he said, hey, Brie, you should be on this song. I'm confused at first because he knows I don't do music. I have a lovely voice in the shower, but I do not do music, but it was a performance role. So that's why he said I should be on it. And so I play a woman who is fed up with her man's antics in their relationship. And he knows what she deserves, but he isn't willing to give it. And so I play the woman's perspective on that song. And so it's called Deserve It. And don't do that. No, Sam, don't do that right now. Don't do that.
I'm not gonna play it. I need to look it up though.
Oh, okay. Well, it's on all the streaming. It's on all that. The artist is called Nate Carter. But yeah.
Congrats, Bree. That's amazing.
Oh, thanks. So I mean, it's just hard for me to pick like a specific song because I love music. I love all kinds of music. But yeah, Drake. Y'all know Drake. Mm-hmm.
All things Drake.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Now, as far as a quote, there are a few quotes that I live by, and one of them that always sticks out of my mind is by Maya Angelou, in which she says, "When a person shows you who they are, believe them the first time." And as I've stated before, even as a child and growing up through adolescence and a teenager, it took me a while to actually get that through my brain because, like I said, I really see the good in people. I try to give people the benefit of the doubt, but it's like, no, they know them better than you know them. So guess what? They're telling you something. You need to trust it and trust your gut instinct, which is something I try to do. But when someone shows you who they are, you need to believe them because they're telling you who they are. Now, if you don't want to believe them, then guess what? That's on you. And it's only going to bite you, which it has. It has bit me in the past. So that's something that I constantly try to keep in my mind and to just really, like I said, just trust my gut instinct and what comes to me.
That's deep.
That's deep. That's the name of the episode. That's deep. Well, with that being said, I just want to say thank you, everybody. This has been another episode of CSUN Performance Ensemble Presents a Conversation with Brianne Ingram.
Thank you.
My name is not Jefferson Denim, and
Can we close it right this time? I need to redeem myself.
okay.
Oh yeah, we got this.
Yeah, my name is not Jefferson Denim, and the person over here is
Samantha Garcia, and the person down here is
Brianne Ingram. That's me.
right.
and good evening.
I don't think good evening. I don't think that was. I don't think you redeemed anything there. But thank you, everybody, for watching. We're gonna wave bye now.